Have you ever wondered if something as simple and private as masturbation changes with age? Most men never talk about it. They assume it is the same at 20, 40, or 70. But as a urologist who has worked with men for more than a decade, I can tell you this. Your body does change, and so does the way it responds. Many men over 60 are still doing it the way they did when they were teenagers. Fast, rough, and without much thought. But here is the truth. That old approach can silently make circulation, prostate, and sensitivity issues worse. The good news is this. The right technique after 60 is not about giving up. It is about adapting, done mindfully. Masturbation can protect your prostate, improve blood flow to your pelvic region, and even support firmer erections during intimacy. Done the wrong way, it can leave you with numbness, weaker response, or unnecessary strain. And here's why you need to stay with me until the very end, because the last mistake I am going to reveal is one of the most crucial to avoid. Most men do not even realize they are making it, and it may be the single biggest reason they lose sensitivity and struggle with performance as they age. Let us start with the first mistake, rushing. When you were younger, you probably wanted to finish quickly. Your body was overflowing with hormones and blood flow was effortless. Back then, you did not need much warm-up. Arousal was instant. Firmness came almost automatically, and the urgency often felt impossible to ignore. That is why many men develop the habit of getting it over with as fast as possible, almost like flipping a switch. But after 60, the body plays by different rules. Your arteries may be stiffer, your testosterone lower, and your nerves less sensitive. The pathways that once carried blood quickly and forcefully into the erectile tissue now need more time and more gentle stimulation. If you continue with the old pattern of fast, aggressive movements, you are not giving the tissue what it needs. Instead of encouraging oxygen-rich blood to enter and stay, you are starving the erectile chambers of circulation. This can leave you feeling less full, less satisfied, and even slightly sore afterward. The right approach is to slow down, and this is where many men discover that age can bring a new kind of pleasure. Think of it less like a sprint and more like a long, enjoyable walk. A walk strengthens your circulation, gives your muscles steady oxygen, and leaves you feeling refreshed rather than drained. That is exactly what a slower pace does for your erections. It lets blood gradually build inside the erectile tissue, filling it more completely and allowing pressure to stabilize. So firmness lasts longer. Slowing down also allows your nervous system to stay in a state of relaxation rather than stress. Quick, forceful activity tends to trigger shallow breathing, tense muscles, and adrenaline release, all of which narrow the blood vessels. A calm, patient rhythm paired with deep breathing, on the other hand, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, what doctors call the rest and restore mode. In that state, your arteries open, wider blood moves more easily, and sensitivity returns. Do not think of slowing down as a weakness. Think of it as a wiser, healthier way to work with the body you have now. Just like you would not run a marathon without pacing yourself, you should not expect your sexual response at 60 or 70 to thrive on the same rushing habits you had as a teenager. By taking your time breathing deeply and focusing on the gradual buildup, you will not only feel firmer, but also more connected to the experience itself. Another mistake is relying only on a tight grip and constant friction. This is what many men casually call the death grip. And while it might have felt effective when you were younger, it becomes a problem as you age. Over years, this habit can actually train your brain and body to expect only one very specific kind of stimulation. The result: reduced sensitivity, difficulty responding to your partner's touch, and sometimes even the need for more and more intensity just to reach the same level of arousal. After 60, your body benefits from a very different approach. The better way is to use a lighter touch and to vary the pressure. Think of it as teaching your nerves to wake up again and respond more easily. When you ease up, you allow oxygen-rich blood to flow into the erectile tissue instead of pushing it away. This gentler method not only preserves sensitivity, but also retrains your body to enjoy a wider range of sensations, something that pays off during intimacy with a partner as well. And here is where many men hesitate lubrication. Too often, men see it as a weakness, as if needing extra help means something is wrong, but nothing could be further from the truth. Lubrication is not a crutch. It is a tool, a very effective one. It reduces skin irritation, keeps blood flow strong by lowering friction damage, and makes the whole experience smoother and more enjoyable. In fact, many urologists encourage its use, especially as skin becomes thinner and more delicate with age. As your skin changes, the need for care becomes more important. The nerve endings are still there, but they are not as quick to respond as they once were. Treating them with patience, variety, and comfort allows them to stay sharp and engaged for longer. Instead of desensitizing them further with aggressive techniques, you are nurturing them back to better function. Posture matters far more than most men realize. Think about it. If you are hunched over in a chair, shoulders rounded, hips compressed, you are literally pressing down on the very arteries and nerves that are supposed to be delivering blood and sensation to your pelvis. Instead, give your body some space to work with. Try lying on your back where gravity helps keep pressure off the pelvic arteries. Or even standing with your knees relaxed instead of locked tight. These positions naturally open the hips and free up the vascular system. Imagine water flowing through a hose. If you kink the hose, the stream weakens but once you straighten it, the flow becomes full and powerful again. That is exactly what happens when you fix your posture. Now pair this with your breath. Slow diaphragmatic breathing, where you inhale deeply through your nose. Let your belly rise and then exhale gently through your mouth is more than just a relaxation trick. Each breath floods your bloodstream with oxygen, and oxygen is the fuel erections depend on. At the same time, this type of breathing signals your body to release nitric oxide, the natural chemical messenger that tells your arteries to relax and widen. Wider arteries mean better flow, and better flow means stronger performance. Every breath then becomes part of your foundation. Instead of fighting against your own body by sitting in awkward circulation, blocking positions, you are working with it. You are opening the arteries, feeding the tissues, and building the conditions for firmness. So the next time you notice yourself hunched over, take a moment to reset. Straighten your posture, shift to a position that frees your pelvis, and focus on a few deep belly breaths. These small adjustments may seem simple, but they create a powerful combination: more oxygen, more nitric oxide, and more open blood vessels. Together, they form the most natural foundation for erection strength at any age. Now, let us talk about something that is often surrounded by myths and half-truths: frequency. A lot of men past 60 have been told either directly or through subtle messages that they should stop masturbating altogether. Some fear it will drain their energy. Others worry it might harm their prostate. But here is the truth. Regular ejaculation is not harmful. In fact, it can be beneficial. Each release helps clear the prostate of old seminal fluid, which prevents buildup and lowers the risk of inflammation or infection. It also keeps the muscles and blood vessels involved in intimacy active, almost like exercise for your reproductive system. That said, balance is everything. Just because something is good does not mean more is always better. If you are enjoying yourself daily and your energy, mood, and body all feel fine, there is no reason to stop. But if you notice soreness, fatigue, or irritation, your body is sending a message to slow down. Unlike when you were younger, recovery time matters more. Now, tissues are thinner, hormones are lower, and nerves may take a little longer to recharge. Listening to those signals is not weakness, it is wisdom. For many men, 2 to 3 times a week strikes the perfect balance. That rhythm gives the prostate regular cleansing, maintains healthy blood circulation, and keeps testosterone activity stimulated without pushing your system into overuse. Think of it like strength training. If you lift weights every day without rest, your muscles break down. But when you lift a few times a week with recovery in between, you grow stronger. Your sexual system works in a very similar way. It is also important to remember that quality matters as much as quantity. If each session feels mindful, relaxed, and supportive of your circulation, then even less frequent practice can bring powerful benefits. On the other hand, rushing through it 5 times a week without oxygenation, posture, or care will not deliver the same rewards. So it is not just how often you do it, but how you do it. Finally, keep in mind that frequency can and should change with life seasons. Some weeks you may feel more desire and energy, and other weeks less. That is perfectly normal. The key is to stay in touch with your own body, treat it with respect, and recognize that regular balanced release is not only safe, it can be one of the best habits for keeping intimacy alive well into your later years. Now let us talk about the mind-body connection, something that becomes even more important after 60. By this stage in life, arousal is no longer just about physical stimulation. It is equally about where your mind is and how relaxed your emotions are. If you carry stress, anxiety, or shame into the moment, your body responds by tightening up, blood vessels constrict, breathing becomes shallow, and instead of flow, you get resistance. That is why so many men notice their erections are weaker during times of stress, even if nothing else has changed physically. The shift comes when you stop treating it like a quick release and start approaching it as a form of intimacy with yourself. This is not just about pleasure, it is about cultivating calm, confidence, and connection to your own body. The more you frame it as self-care, the more your nervous system relaxes and allows circulation to work in your favor. Remember, the brain is the largest sexual organ. When it is switched on, the body follows. And the final mistake many men fall into, especially in our digital age, is relying too much on adult content during masturbation. At first, it might seem harmless, a quick way to get aroused, a visual shortcut, but over time, it can desensitize both your brain and your body. The brain begins to crave stronger, more novel images just to get the same level of excitement. While real intimacy feels less stimulating, it is like training your mind to only respond to a screen instead of a real connection. After 60, when sensitivity and hormone levels are already lower, this dependence can make natural arousal even harder. You may notice that without a video playing, it takes much longer to feel anything, or that your erections are not as strong. The problem is not just in the mind. Constant screen stimulation can alter dopamine pathways, the very chemicals that drive motivation, pleasure, and satisfaction. Too much artificial stimulation dulls the reward system, leaving you feeling flat afterward. The better way is to gradually reduce dependence on adult content instead of relying on visual overload. Begin reconnecting with your imagination, your memories, and your senses. Close your eyes and picture something that excites you. Feel the touch, the warmth, the presence, not just the image. This shift retrains your brain to respond to real physical cues, which in turn strengthens your body's natural reactions. Many men are surprised at how much more fulfilling self-pleasure becomes once they cut down on screens. Erections feel stronger, arousal builds more naturally, and climax feels deeper. More importantly, when you are with a partner, your brain is no longer comparing reality to exaggerated online images. It can fully engage in the moment. Think of it this way: pornography is like junk food for the brain. It gives a quick rush but leaves you weaker in the long run. Real intimacy, even with yourself, is like a nourishing meal. It takes more presence, but it gives back strength, energy, and lasting satisfaction. So here's the truth, my friends. Staying strong, confident, and connected after 60 is not about luck or youth. It is about habits. Avoid the common mistakes we talked about, and instead focus on slowing down, breathing deeply, using care, and treating intimacy as a full-body experience, not just a quick release. Your body is capable of more than you think. Even now, if you give it patience, proper attention, and respect, you will not only feel firmer erections, but also deeper satisfaction and confidence in yourself. Remember, this stage of life is not an ending. It is an opportunity to rediscover pleasure in a richer, more meaningful way. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe and join me for more simple, powerful tips on keeping your health and vitality strong after 50.